Formula 1, the pinnacle of motorsport, absolute engineering perfection, and the fastest cars on Earth. The drama, the rivalries, the champagne showers, it's intense, it's thrilling, it's glamorous. And then there's this. F1 Race Stars, a game where Formula 1 drivers are turned into bobblehead cartoon characters with smiles so wide it looks like they're auditioning for a toothpaste commercial. This game asks the bold question, what if instead of wheel-to-wheel battles at 200 miles per hour, Sebastian Vettel got trapped inside a bubble? Yes, this is real, and yes, Codemasters made this, and somehow, it's brilliant and kind of awful at the same time. So before we dive into the gameplay, let's just go over a little history about the game. So F1 Race Stars was developed and published by Codemasters and was an officially licensed F1 product. It launched worldwide across November of 2012 for Windows, PS3 and Xbox 360, and would eventually get ported to the Wii U in January of 2014. Now, you may know Codemasters for having a hand in pretty much every racing game on planet Earth, such as Micro Machines, Toka, Dirt, F1, and the newer Grid games. Basically, these guys love racing. Anyway, Codemasters must have had a weird meeting one day. Someone looked around the office and said, you know what kids love? The FIA license point system. And another guy went, nah, they just love Mario Kart. And boom, suddenly they were like, oh, let's make F1 Race Stars. Imagine Mario Kart, but instead of mushrooms, you get Kerr's boost pads. And instead of charming Nintendo mascots, you get Fernando Alonso, except his head is the size of a beach ball. And instead of Mario's lovable mustache... No, sorry, I'll stop there. So all 12 teams and all 24 drivers that started during the 2012 Formula 1 season appear here as playable characters. So we have legends such as Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg, Mark Webber, Schumacher, Alonso, so on and so forth, and of course my personal favourite, Daniel Ricciardo. Oh man, we miss you, Danny Rick. Anyway, there are also two additional fictional teams, one called Tech Nova Star, which features two female drivers called Ruby Power and Jessica Checker, and another featuring a male driver called Josh Merritt and a female driver named Kira Hoshihara. The version that you are seeing on screen today is the Xbox 360 version, which I very recently picked up from a car boot sale for about £3. The Xbox 360 version allowed you to use your avatar in the car instead of one of the actual drivers, and in the same sense the Wii U version would allow you to use your Mii. Now, on top of a good roster of drivers, you've also got a decent selection of circuits, so there are 11 to choose from in the base game, including Belgium, Germany, England, the United States, and Monaco. But there were some additional tracks that were released as DLC, but sadly you can no longer get these because the Xbox store has shut down, and the same goes for the PS3. But those were Valencia Street Circuit, Canada, China, and India. Now, I've actually got the Valencia Street Circuit exclusive edition, but the code in my box has already been used and I wouldn't be able to claim it anyway. So, how does it play? Well, here's the twist. You can't drift. That's right, a kart racer where drifting simply does not exist. Instead, you brake and turn, like in real Formula 1. Codemasters looked at Mario Kart and other racers at the time and said, nah, this is way too fun, let's just focus on braking. Personally, I'm really on the fence about this. It's both really cool but also really frustrating to get used to. I like that it plays a little bit more like Formula 1, but at the same time, this is a kart racer, so I'm not too sure. And speaking of not too sure, damage is also a thing. If your car gets hit too much by projectiles, it slows down until you visit a pit lane. Yes, a pit lane in a kart racer. Nothing says a fun party game like mandatory repairs. But again, part of me really likes this mechanic and it makes it more Formula 1. But on the other hand, again, it's a kart racer. Do I want to have to do pit stops? Not really. So at the start of each race, you'll have the lights count down as you normally would in an actual Formula 1 race. And the way to get your starting boost on here is to pull the accelerator as soon as go appears on the screen. That took me a little bit longer to understand than I'd care to admit. Then once you get going, as you start to approach corners, you'll notice some boost pads. And these are KERS zones, or KERS being Kinetic Energy Recovery System. As you're slowing down to turn the corner, if you pump the accelerator up to 3 times, you can charge a big boost as you come out of the corner. But you have to make sure you stay within the zone whilst you do it, because if you come off the corner, the charge goes back to 0. I think it's a nice way to counterbalance the lack of drifting in the game. It just takes some getting used to. Now before we go any further, if you're a fan of racing games, kart racers and more niche games, then why not hit that subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications to stay up to date with my future uploads. And whilst you're at it, if you want to be the first to hear about everything upcoming on the channel, or just to come and chat about some cool games, join my Discord server using the link in the description below. Anyways, that's enough plugging the channel, let's return to the world of Formula 1.
Formula 1 just got powered up. Welcome to F1 Race Stars, starring incredible circuits, awesome power-ups, sensational split screen, giant robo-sumos, and Truckosaurus! F1 Race Stars, out now.
So of course, as this is a kart racer, there are the power-ups, or the weapons. Oh boy. So instead of using shells, you've got bubbles. They trap drivers and drop them from the air to damage the car. Not quite sure where the bubble thing came from, but it's here. There are a few different kinds of bubbles. There's a red one that locks on, sounds familiar. There's a yellow one that bounces from side to side, and a blue one that you can either drop behind you or throw a little way in front of you, but they will remain stationary. Now of course you've also got a couple of different kinds of boosts, just your regular boosts that act as mushrooms. There's one that turns you into a soda bottle that's exploded, that's basically like a bullet bill. And then there's one that just teleports you about 10 places in front if you're near the back of the pack. You've also got safety cars that slow down the entire race, because finally the FIA can ruin your party night as well. The car will spawn right at the front of the pack and slow anyone who's up that way right back down. And it's for quite a long period of time as well, so it gives you a good chance to catch up. Or it's a really irritating inconvenience if you're right at the front anyway. DRS is also a pickup in this game, and it pretty much just acts like invulnerability for a short period of time. It helps you turn, you knock people out the way, you get the gist, we've seen it before. One other standout item, and it's one of my favourites, is the rain cloud, because nothing says fun like aquaplaning through a corner in your chibi Lewis Hamilton car. You can target just one player of the rain cloud and they'll slow down because they don't have the right tyres, or there's also a version that puts rain over the whole track but gives you different tyres so you're not sliding around everywhere. That pretty much covers all the items, and I have to say, although some of them are fairly uninspired like the bubbles, I do really like the DRS and the safety car, and the way they've implemented Formula 1 themed things into a kart racer. I think it's a really cool concept. Now in terms of its design, F1 Race Stars has a lot going for it as well. The track's probably one of the best parts of the game. They're technically based on real circuits, but cartoonified, and a lot of creative liberties are taken. Silverstone ends up with you on British country lanes and some Typhoon jets flying over you. A part of the Abu Dhabi track features the Ferrari World roller coaster, so on and so forth. There's a lot of creative liberties that make it feel like a kart racer, and it's incredibly cool. Tracks have a variety of different shortcuts, both small and bigger, and one of them will require a key which you can find down a different hidden path. Once you have that key, it unlocks a way for you to go, which will give you a significant advantage over your opponents. Everything is very bright, everything's very colourful, it all just is a nice charm to look at. And then you've got the drivers. Oh wow, the character models look like F1 drivers if you asked a balloon artist to make them at a kid's birthday party. They've all got these huge heads, huge grins, and lifeless doll eyes. Sebastian Vettel looks like he's about to sell me used cars. Fernando Alonso looks like he's in pain but hiding it, so nothing new. And the rest just end up looking like Funko Pops. On top of some pretty funky visuals, the game also has a pretty funky soundtrack, with a different theme going for each course, and each one really adds to the unique characteristics of each track. Now, so far so good. There are a lot of positives to F1 Race Stars. but there are also some cracks that do start to show the more you play through the game. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with how the handling works of the F1 cars, or F1 karts, in the game. They all feel good to drive, and to try and get round those curved corners. No, the biggest problem with this game is just the sheer unfairness of the AI sometimes. Now, I will always appreciate that this is a kart racer, and kart racers are known for being hectic and chaotic. But there's hectic and chaotic, and then there's just plain unfair. There were numerous moments throughout my playthrough that were just incredibly frustrating. I get beaten and battered, go through a pit stop, and then upon exiting the pit stop I'd immediately get hit into again, and would have to limp along to the next stop. If you somehow survive the ruckus in the midfield and manage to pull out to the front, then it's quite easy to just stay out the front and typically blitz ahead of everyone else. But getting to that point can be so incredibly frustrating sometimes, and it shouldn't feel that way across all the different speeds, 1000cc, 2000cc and 3000. I understand more for the latter, but for the slowest, it shouldn't feel that difficult. There was one game mode in particular that really wound me up, and there's a couple of cups where you have to do this. So the F1 single player is set as a career mode, where there are a variety of different cups that you can enter. A few of these place emphasis on fuel consumption, so the more fuel you have, the slower you go. So there's a nice balancing act involved where you have to have a nice amount of fuel so that you don't break down, but not so much that it will slow you down. But no matter how hard you try and how well you balance your fuel consumption, the AI seemingly always does it better. They always pull away from you even if you're using just a little bit of fuel before it runs out. My other main issue with F1 Race Stars is more of a me problem because it feels like it's definitely made with multiplayer in mind, and I think this game would have been a lot more fun playing with friends or playing online. Don't get me wrong, the single player still has some good value to it, especially for how much the game is worth these days, but it's definitely multiplayer first. These issues shouldn't be deal breakers because the game is still a lot of fun to play and has a lot of charm going for it. It just can be frustrating sometimes. So how does F1 Race Stars hold up in terms of its critical response? Well, on the Xbox 360 the game currently holds a 64 out of 100 on Metacritic, putting it into the realm of mixed or average, as well as holding a mixed or average user score as well with a matching 6.4 out of 10. Now personally I would put this in the 70s and the 7s out of 10s, because I think this is still a decent game. It does have some issues, yes, but it oozes charisma, and it is a charming little kart racer. Now, according to sales figures from VG Charts, the Xbox 360 version of this game sold approximately 270,000 units, with the PS3 version selling slightly better with 300,000 copies. Not terrible figures at all, but definitely not enough to launch a new F1 racing franchise. As just a standalone racing game, yeah, it's just okay. As an F1 simulator, it's definitely not good. But as a party game, and especially if you've got a group of friends who all like F1, this is a really good time. Anyway, that's F1 Race Stars, a game so weird, so dumb, and so strangely fun that it kind of feels illegal. Let me know in the comments down below if you're a fan of this game, if you've played it, if you've not played it and you want to, just tell me all your experiences about it. And if there's any other games you want to see covered on this channel, let me know as well. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe and tap that bell for notifications to stay up to date with my future uploads. Thank you very much for watching, and a massive thank you to my patrons for the support. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.